won 3 of the last 6 at Salem. Also has a win at Iowa on his ARCA resume.
We can see that inside line has gained about a car. Oh, trouble already.
Through the tri-oval. 78 goes around. The 98, they're teammates. It's a big one at Daytona. It all started when the 78 of Cole Powell got turned sideways. Gus Dean had nowhere to go and under caution early here at the World Center of Racing.
Watch about 3 or 4 lines back. The 78 definitely moved to the inside. Don't know if he had any help. Maybe it turned him sideways right into his teammate, the 98 of Gus Dean, that pushed him back up the racetrack right in front of the pack.
Look at Kevin Thomas Jr. in that 22, gets minimal damage, middle of your screen. This is a kid that had never raced on a facility bigger than a half mile prior to today, and that was a pretty nice save by him.
You can't tell from that angle whether the 78 got a little bit of contact that turned him around down into the inside line where he collected his teammate, Gus Dean. See all these drivers, that you see all that smoke. It's way worse from racetrack level.
I think about Greg Gaulding, Frank Kimmel, some of those drivers. Brett Hudson would have started right in the middle of the pack, probably been collected, dropped to the rear, and I don't think any of them got any damage.
Boy, it almost looked like there might have been a little bit of contact right there to turn that 78 sideways. If there would have been an opening down to the inside, he probably would have got away with it, but not this early in the race.
On board
no
with
openings.
Gus Dean. That's Cole Powell on the outside.
Look at the rear of that car. Look how close the 83 is. Derek Lancaster. Definitely contact from behind that sent him down across the racetrack.
That's unfortunate because those cars have been fast not only this weekend, but were really good when we tested here in January. See what it looked like from the view of Sarah Cornett-Ching on board here.
Dylan Lupton, the 82, to her inside. You see, just blipped the throttle for just a second, and that quickly she was by the incident. See her waving out the window to the cars behind her.
And look at all the cars way back behind them that were able to avoid the.
Certainly were. Here's another look at it. See, there was a little bit of contact from behind to the 78 of Cole Powell. It turned him to the inside into his teammate, the 98 of Gus Dean, but it sent him back up the racetrack right in the middle of this heavy side-by-side pack here.
You know, that bright yellow Menards car out of the Ken Schrader stables, the 52 of Matt Kurziewski. Watch him, middle of your screen, and the job that he does getting through the crash and encountering no contact.
Yeah, it's amazing. We talk about the fact that there are 9 cars involved in this, but there's going to be at least 9 cars that probably should have been involved in this and somehow missed it.
When you come to Daytona, you'd much rather at times be lucky than good, and there are a handful of drivers that fit that category, and on board there with Sarah Cornett-Ching, who was able to dodge an early bullet. This is Gus Dean. That's his teammate in the 78 outside Cole Powell.
You see the contact right there by Derek Lancaster. And it sends him right back up. There's absolutely nowhere for any of those drivers to go. He's along for the ride right now. He's going to let go of the steering wheel and just grab hold of his headrest.
Well, and it happens at the worst time. Early in a run, when the pack is as tight together as they will be all afternoon.
You saw the hands on the 78 trying to save that car after the bump. Unfortunately, couldn't do it.
Cole Powell talked about how fast those Mason Mitchell Motorsports machines were during testing. Backed it up here. Qualified up front. He started in the 6th position.
Bo LeMastus does a nice job getting by as well. You mentioned the 52 of Matt Kurziewski.
So we look at the drivers that were involved in our lap 2 crash. Shane Lee having his Wintron machine returned to the garage. There's Cole Powell.
Yeah, that's going to be terminal damage to that 78 car of Cole Powell.
And I did have Kevin Thomas there. If you're a Kevin Thomas Jr. fan, he got damage. Appeared to be minimal. Cunningham Motorsports, a lot of good guys.
See how close the 55 of Byron and the 05 got of John West Townley. Got to make sure you give Mark Thompson some room down there. There's some contact. They're not going to. Are they going to survive this?
They are not. We got one in the wall. Second caution of the day. And among those involved, The 83 of Derek Lancaster got a piece of the action. Mark Thompson, and look at that. Matt Kurziewski thought that was him in that outside lane. We had seen cars drift up to that third lane. You just talked about it. They've not used it. They were forced to because of the slower vehicle, Mark Thompson, and it just didn't work out into turn one.
See, all these guys want to try to get down as low as they can. The 83 of Lancaster made contact with the 66 of Thompson, and Mark tried his best to save that car, but had to use a little bit more racetrack to do it. See, they've already made a little bit of contact. You see Dylan Lumpkin, somehow he's going to avoid that. He was right sack in the middle of that in the 82 car, and somehow was able to get around those guys.
So Mark Thompson was 3 laps down. They tried to get around him. It didn't work out. And as you can see, Matt Kurziewski among those that have climbed from their vehicles after our second caution of the day.
Yeah, I think I would come at the very last moment. Now that I've made my bet, I would have come on that last caution flag. I really didn't understand why those guys stayed out. They would have bought so much more insurance of fuel. But now we've got the caution. Tom Hessett, you see, with some damage, left rear tires down. Looks like he may have got into the wall. And that's going to take that all out the window. Everyone's going to be able to come to pit road now. Tough break for Tom Hessert, though. Nice job, I'm sure, keeping that car out of the wall. And watch him. You see, he probably felt like he had a problem because he dropped behind the pack. You see that tire come apart there. Look at that. Wow, around it goes.
Let's go on board with Tom Hessert and listen as he goes to turn 3.
You could hear him vibrating a little bit before it actually went. He did an amazing job. Got completely sideways. Did an amazing job of not getting into the outside wall with that car.